Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. You happy Met fans today? Obviously, the Yankees had the day off after their easy win last night, so the New York teams get off well. And let me give you the baseball thing first before we get into the tournament. Bet Rivers and the Mike Francis podcast are helping you get into the swing of the baseball season. Bettors in New York and New Jersey can get a $10 bonus bet when they use Francesa 323. On their Bet Rivers app, they get that code again is Francesa 323. And it's available to all eligible bettors on the Bet Rivers app in New York and New Jersey. Offer ends April 8th. You get a $10 bonus bet on any baseball game. Must be 21 or older. Eligible New York players and New Jersey players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER in New Jersey and 877-8-HOPE-NY in New York. Now, I didn't wait for the late games because they're both blowouts. Arizona blowing out Arkansas doesn't surprise anybody. They were odds on to win that bracket. I think they'll win in the regional final and make the Final Four. I thought they had a very good chance to win it. Arizona has been superlative all year. Duke was sensational until they got injured, losing their point guard. Arizona is a little better than Michigan. Those two are ahead of everybody. Then comes Duke, but obviously Duke has struggled since they've lost the point guard, and that will play into St. John's tomorrow. But first, a word on the 4 games tonight. First of all, we got 2 great early games. Sean Miller did a great job with Texas. Texas made so many shots in this game. They made so many outside shots to stay in that game. Heartbreaking loss on a tip in. They played really well. They had a couple of players dragging their legs, but really they played their hearts out. I thought that would be a fairly close game. I thought Purdue would win. That game didn't surprise me. I thought Iowa would win. Nebraska had a couple of rough moments, like not having everybody on the court. Iowa is superbly coached. What a great run for them. Great win. 2 exciting, terrific games. And the amazing thing about both those games today is a lot of times in these games, and we see it all the time with St. John's because they can't shoot, but these teams in the first games today all made shots. They all shot a high percentage. I mean, they were making threes, they were making shots. I mean, their numbers were outrageous. I want to see if they all finished above 500. Let me see, 50%. The 79-77 Purdue win, uh, Purdue shot 48-4 and Texas shot 51-8. Still very good numbers. In the Iowa-Nebraska game, Iowa shot 51-9. Nebraska really tailed off in the second half. They were 52 at half. They shot 42 for the game. They shot 34 from 3. They made 13 threes. Iowa made 13 threes. Both of them shot a lot of threes. Iowa shot 30. Nebraska, which always shoots a lot, shot 8. But I thought the shooting was and the offensive execution was very good in those games. So congratulations to Purdue. Congratulations to Iowa, Arkansas, and Houston. Houston, the surprising one, down 15. Illinois is playing sensationally. Illinois, listen, I loved Illinois about a month all season. About a month to go, I saw them play a couple games, even bet on them once, and they blew a 20-point lead the night I bet on them. And I know that bothers you when it happens, but their defense really was awful the rest of the season. And I said, I don't know if they play good enough defense to get to a Final Four. Now they're very talented. They got size, obviously using the Eastern European players, and with having Wagler from as a freshman making the shots he makes. I thought Houston would win an ugly game. It is an ugly game from the Houston standpoint. Houston's shooting 25% from the floor. I mean, that's scary. Illinois shooting now only 40. They were shooting better than that. They've made 7 threes. Houston's only made 5. Houston this year was better offensively, weaker defensively, but they haven't done it tonight. Now, one thing about Houston, They're not totally out of that game. I'll keep an eye on it because they're home and they have a habit of being gritty. They're now down 13 with 9 minutes left. I'll keep an eye on it. Arizona has been coasting in a high scoring game. You knew that would be high scoring, and you knew that the bigs would score all they wanted. The question was, would Acuff go off and score a million? And would they hit a bunch of threes? And they're down 16 points in the second half. Now, let's get to tomorrow. Great games tomorrow, especially obviously in DC. Alabama, Michigan. Alabama, their game is to run and gun and try and outscore you. That's who they are. That game's gonna look a lot like the Arkansas Arizona game. The only way Alabama stays in the game is if they light it up from three. Michigan is so much vastly superior in size, and the size will make a big difference. And it's quality size. So I think Michigan wins that game comfortably. Um, Tennessee, Iowa State. I have respect for Tennessee. Usually loses this game. Tennessee got a talent. They're physical. They play good defense. If Iowa had stayed at Jefferson, I think they win this game going away. I don't know what's up with Jefferson yet. They said he's worked very hard to try and get back this week. I don't know if he's going to try to play or not play. I just don't know. So it's just stay away from the game because I don't know what Jefferson's going to do. I really don't. Now, the line's only Iowa State 3.5 because of the fact, and they've been one of the best teams in the country all year because of the fact that Jefferson's hurt. Dangerous game. Now, to the two classics in DC. I mean, absolute classics in DC. What else could you ask for? Uh, it is also, if you've paid attention, the hottest regional ticket in the history of the NCAA tournament. They are scalping tickets, lower level seats for thousands of dollars. It usually doesn't happen in regionals. Thousands of dollars. But look what you have here. You have Duke, and they all want to come to the game. And it's a close trip. You got Michigan State, which is a big time program, has a real shot in their game, has a big following. So they want tickets. You have UConn, their fans, we know how crazy they are. We've all seen them a million times. And obviously, they have a right to always puff their chest out, just like Duke. In recent years, even more so. And then you have St. John's, which has really, I have to admit, they were louder and more boisterous and more numerous in San Diego than I thought they would be. And my understanding is a lot of them want to go down for this game, but tickets are very, very expensive. Now, obviously, they're all using their allotments, and that goes to, but that doesn't help. They're going to let some kids come. They all have their student body stuff, but they're going to obviously take care of their guys who donate to the program, which is what listen, you can't expect them not to do that. That's how they make money. It is the hottest ticket. My understanding is downstairs, lower bowl, right? Hundreds, you want to call them what you would call the hundreds in the garden and above, meaning the courtside seats are going for thousands of dollars. So, I mean, the fact that they'd be going for more than 500 would be outrageous. Going for 1,000 would be outrageous. I hear some of the good ones, courts, that are in the middle of the court are going for 2,000. That's incredible. But you have a great doubleheader. Michigan State, Connecticut. That is not an easy game for Connecticut. I know everybody wants the fourth matchup. Now, this week, I know everybody's jumping on the St. John's bandwagon. It's gotten very crowded. Okay. And hey, why not? You knew they'd pick up enormous steam once they got to the Sweet 16. Plus, they're playing Duke. Plus, they've lost one game since January 3rd. And it's Patino against Duke and the whole thing, okay? But a lot of people who have, "Oh, St. John's gonna win, St. John's gonna win." A lot of them, first of all, don't watch a lot of college basketball. But the ones that do, I'm surprised a lot of them are on the St. John's bandwagon here and think, "Oh, they're gonna." Hey, this is not, listen, I said it before the tournament started. I didn't have a problem if Duke was in St. John's way. Did not have a problem because of the loss of the point guard. This is not a deep Duke team. It's a very talented Duke team. Now, let me just point this out to you about how hard this is going to be. St. John's went up against Kansas, which is obviously always have. They got a player who's going to be drafted. I don't know where he's going to be drafted, but a lot of people think he could get drafted first. I don't know how they're going to deal with him. A lot of it's going to have to be how he convinces people what he is and what he's not. But physically, they say he's would be worthy of being the number one pick. We know that he's been a highly erratic personality and highly erratic on the court. Okay, now St. John's had everything go their way against Kansas. They turned Kansas over, embarrassed them all day. Kansas couldn't get the ball in bounds. They threw the ball away a million times. They almost had 20 turnovers. They never got their offense going until the final 2 minutes of the game. St. John's, they challenged them to hit threes. St. John's hit some threes. Now, they didn't hit a lot except obviously for Hopkins, who made 6 of 9 threes. That, he hadn't made, I don't think, 1 3 in a game this year. Now, I know they're encouraging to take it. He has taken a bigger offensive approach in recent weeks. I understand that. But he made 6 of 9, which is, you can't expect that again. First of all, he's not gonna get treated the same way where they just said, "Shoot it." Secondly, I mean, it's just you don't expect it. Okay? You just don't expect it. With all that going their way, Hopkins hitting 3, Kansas looking putrid, turning the ball over. With all that game's tied at 62. Okay? I mean, tied at 65. There was 65-61, and they tied it up, and they obviously got the last basket. So they've tied the game up with seconds remaining, as we know. They got that game tied, and everything went St. John's way until the last 3 minutes when Kansas started to wear St. John's down. Their size really wore them down. Now, in the second half, St. John's had trouble driving the ball for the most part on Kansas because of their size. And they didn't get a lot of outside play from, like, they had nothing out of Sellers and nothing out of Sannon. They got some points out of Jackson, which they needed, and then Darling, who had done nothing, makes the last basket of the game. We know that. Hunter was great. Mitchell did a good job, and Zuby made a lot of big plays. Now, it's gonna be harder against this team. This team's better than them. This team is better than them and better on the front line than them and much better defensively than them and much smarter than them. But they don't have their point guard, and that's gonna be critical. Now, this is gonna be an incredible, incredible frontline matchup, okay? An incredible frontline matchup. The Zuby Boozer matchup is gonna be really terrific because they both have led their team in everything, and Boozer has really had to take so much responsibility in the playmaking role since the point guard's gone out. Now, Boozer has, in the games since the point guard left, he has shot 42%, and he has averaged 4.4 turnovers per game. It has hurt his game. His brothers picked up the slack. Obviously, they need other guys to help handle the ball. But St. John's knows this is not a deep Duke team. That St. John's has more numbers if the guys play well and if they make some shots. And I will say this, okay? They need they need to win this game, I believe. They need a game out of Sellers. Sellers is the one guy who every time he shoots a 3, you think he can make it. He's the only one. Shannon can make some threes, and he's listen, Shannon and Jackson never saw a shot they didn't like. We all know that. They come off the bench chucking. Sellers will stay in that game forever and not take a shot. That can't happen. If he's out there on that floor, he has got to, and he's going to be. Last game was a very light game for him minutes wise. He has got to take shots. He has got to get open and be aggressive with the basketball because he is the best shooter, and they need that from him in this game. This Duke team, these are quality. I mean, these are big time players. They have size. St. John's going to have a hard time driving the ball on them, and they are going to guard them on the perimeter a lot differently than Kansas did. And they are going to try and make this a half court game because they know that's what St. John's doesn't handle. And I've seen them defensively just shut down teams in the half court. Now, they're not the same team since they lost their point guard. That's why I picked him. Now, I've watched St. John's play. I've seen him in person 3 times this year, and I've seen every game they've played this year. I have watched virtually live I don't think I've missed one game. It might be one game I had to watch on tape. I've watched every game basically live all year. I know this team inside and out. I know what it can do, I know what it can't do. And what you're banking on is that your 3 bigs are gonna do what they always do. Now, if they have a game like they had up in UConn, well, you can go home. I mean, you can just go home. St. John's can't survive that. They need good numbers from those guys. Now, lately, Hopkins has been very good offensively. Zuby Boo's matchup is gonna be fascinating. Foul trouble is gonna be the whistle's gonna be very interesting there. And obviously, with Mitchell, what you're looking for him to do is play defense, be the distractor on defense, start some breaks, penetrate, and be the originator in the open floor. And then you take your feel with the guards based on how they're playing. I mean, that's what Pitino has done so masterfully since since he realized what this team was and inserted after the Providence loss and inserted Mitchell. He realized, hey, I have to play basically a point forward. I don't really have a point guard. And the only problem with Mitchell is he has to come out of the game late because he can't make a foul shot. And he can always insert Darling late because Darling is not afraid to take a shot, as we have learned again the other day. And he will make his free throws usually. So he can handle that position late in the game. But you're still going to run Mitchell in and out, offense, defense, offense, defense. Okay, that has to happen. And he's going to interchange the guards based on what they're doing. That's why he didn't bury Jackson, even though he's not nearly giving him the minutes he had earlier in the season, but still he didn't bury him because he knew there were going to be games like last game where he needs his offense. And he'll tolerate him as long as he's not killing him by not boxing out, by not playing their defense, by not doing the things he always has trouble doing, turning the ball over in the middle of the court, the things that drive Pitino nuts and make him pull him right out of the game. If you notice, when things aren't going well, Rick will go to Shannon and say, okay, let me see if you're going to be hot tonight. Let me see if you're going to make your shots. Are you not going to make your shots? Go sit down. Okay. He'll give Sellers the most minutes because Sellers is the most complete of those players because he'll play some defense. He'll keep moving. He just isn't aggressive enough taking his shot and looking for a shot, and they don't look for him enough. The bigs don't look for Sellers enough to make threes. And that's the guy they should look to seek out because his threes always have a chance. They always have a chance, and that's critical, absolutely critical, especially against a team like Duke. Now, this Duke team, Booz is a sensational, sensational talent. He's tough, he's smart, he's rugged, he lets the game come to him. You know all the things he does. The key guy for them, where they need the scoring now, the other Boozer has lifted his game without the point guard there, and he's not afraid to go to the basket. He's not a big outside shooter. He'll penetrate, but Evans is a huge key for them, and in the last couple of games, he has really picked up the slack. He's had 20, 16, and 17 in the last 3 games. He is not afraid to take a 3. He's taken 8 in each of the last 3 games. He understands that he has to take shots. He has taken 14 shots and 8 threes in each of the last 3 games. He is going to be a critical guy here, but they also have guys who are tough and have size. The frontline matchup is going to be sensational. The question is, how much does Duke terrorize the St. John's guards who can be woefully inconsistent? And that's where if St. John's is not getting turnovers and easy baskets, fast break baskets, they're not going to get a ton of offensive rebounds against Duke. It's not going to happen. Duke's front line, they have size and athleticism. They are not going. Listen, that's a matchup. St. John's couldn't push Kansas around. They can't push Duke around. But they have the numbers to wear Duke down. It'll be interesting to see if Pitino goes for that in the first half. And I think Duke is going to try and tempo the game, knowing that if they break the initial press, that St. John's backs off, then they will tempo the game offensively, and they are going to try to make St. John's play in the half court because in the half court, it's advantage Duke. St. John's has got to have, they're going to have to make some outside shots because they're not going to get a bunch of rebound baskets. They're not going to get enough of them to fuel them. The question is, can they turn Duke over? If they can, that's where their big advantage is because it gives them pace and it gives them easy baskets. And it makes Duke have to play differently. Fascinating to see because the thing about St. John's is you just don't know game to game what the guards are going to give you. Shannon can hit, Shannon can go out there and hit 4 in a row. Okay, he can go out there and all of a sudden be a huge factor in a game, like the Seton Hall game. He went out there, he had 15 points. Bing, bing, bing. The threes he made were killers. The other day, he went 1 for 8. Sellers is the guy who has to give you the game. And then, he's going to go to Darling, and he's going to give Jackson a call in the game. He's going to give him his chance in the game. Now, what he gives you in the game remains to be seen. He got 20 minutes against Kansas, got 10 points. That was big. That was big. Those were big baskets he made. The threes he made, the baskets he made, going to the basket. He's not afraid to go to the basket because he could drive on anybody. The guy could go to the basket on anybody. We know that. They haven't buried him for that reason, but he could give you 1 point or he could give you no points. He could give you 15 points. Same thing is true with Shannon. Sellers, Darling, who did nothing the whole game and then makes the basket to win the game. He has lived with this all year. And then obviously the major minutes that the big 3 are going to play. They're going to play major minutes. They're going to play 35 minutes each unless they're in foul trouble. St. John's can absolutely win this game. I think they can wear Duke down. I have not liked the way Duke has looked in any of their games. I don't care that they broke open the last game. That game was not easy against TCU, and it got away from TCU. It didn't have to, and I'm telling you, Sienna, if Doty hadn't hurt his ankle, that game would have gone right to the wire because they couldn't handle him. St. John's doesn't have a guard who can score like that. Not like that. And let's be honest, Rick has encouraged he has encouraged Hopkins to shoot. Hopkins has been, you know, 18 points, 13 points, 18 points. He has been far more aggressive. He has played better. He's played with more confidence. And then, he made 2 threes in the UConn game. He made 2 threes in the Northern Iowa game. And then he goes out there and makes 6 of 9. Now, they basically challenged him to shoot those, none bigger than the one he made to put St. John's up 4, because without that cushion, I don't think St. John's wins. I thought the 2 biggest sequences was when Zuby scored and then stole the ball from Peterson. And then he scored again. That was around the 4 and change mark. And then the last 3 Hopkins made, where they left him open, they challenged him, they looked at him, they looked at him, they looked at him, boom, he knocked it down. And that was a huge play in the game. Absolutely a huge play. But remember, a lot of things went right in that game, and they still were all out to win it. This team's better. This game, do not go in there thinking this game's gonna be easy against Duke. It's not. This is Duke. They're not 100%. They haven't been the same team since they lost the point guard. But they are beatable on St. John's best day, and it's gonna take a really good day, even a better day than the Kansas day. But I'm looking forward to it. And then in the other game, flip a coin. Flip a coin. I actually, right now, give Michigan State a little edge. I think they're playing better and more consistent than UConn is. They are going to be the one thing is their lead guard is a bit of a whack job, as we know. And how he plays, whether he goes off, whether he goes off in the bright lights, whether he does something really stupid that upsets the game, he's capable of that. I He's talented, but I don't trust him. And that's the only thing that scares me about Michigan State. Michigan State's got the talent. It would not be to me, it would not be even a little bit of a surprise if, uh if they win the game. Would not surprise me in the least. I think the game's a toss-up, absolute toss-up. And would it be great if we got St. John's and UConn again? It would be unbelievable. It would be so fitting. It would mean the Big East team going to the Final Four, but also it would be so fitting for round 4. It really would. It would be great. And hopefully that's the case. Now let me update you. 5.5 minutes left, and Arizona's already got 100 points. Let's see what they're shooting. They probably have 1,000,000 points in the paint. A-Cup's got 26, but so what? Really, so what? 5 minutes left. Arizona has shot 68% for the game. I bet you they have 20 dunks or 3-foot shots in the paint. They've shot 6 threes. They've made 5. They've shot 34 foul shots. 34 foul shots. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures, 6 guys with 14 or more points. They're having a party at Arkansas's expense. The score right now, 99-77. Okay. The other game is down to 7. You knew Houston would try, but There's only 50 seconds left. They're down 7 points. They're not gonna catch them. Obviously. They shot well, they got their shooting up to 35% for the night, Houston, but that's a bad loss for Houston. Really tough loss to swallow. Listen, Illinois is a tremendous team, a team we all know could win it all. They're a very good team, and give them credit for tonight's game. I mean, really give them credit. This was gonna be a tough game to win, a tough game to go in and play Houston 2 miles from their campus. They didn't make any excuses about it. Their coach said, "Hey, I used to drive a van 14 hours to go play a game. You think I care where I'm playing?" And that's a great attitude to have. That is really not whining about, "Oh, I can't believe we have to play Houston in Houston," like a lot of coaches would do. He said, "Hey." And when they asked Sampson about it, he said, "Hey, we still gotta play really well to beat this team," and they didn't. The team was bigger. They made more shots. They played really well defensively. They out rebounded them by 11. Houston doesn't get out rebounded by 11. This team beat them up on the backboards tonight, made shots inside, did everything they had to do. Give them credit. Give them credit. I mean, that is, just give them a lot of credit. That's all there is to it. They did the job. Arkansas had a good tournament. They won a couple of games. Nobody expected them to beat Arizona. So right now it's 104-80 with 4 minutes left. Arizona's a juggernaut. They obviously can win it all. They've only lost twice this year, and they've played, I believe, 12 teams that were ranked, which is the most any team has ever played before the Final Four. So they've beaten quality teams time and time and time again. Listen, I've watched the St. John's team go from being awful in December with a million problems, where there was nothing alike, to watch Patino piece this together. A real big part of it was obviously taking Mitchell and putting him in and inserting him and giving him major minutes along with Hopkins and Zuby in the 3 forward setup. And then understanding, and this is, I think, where his gift comes in. I'm not gonna let the guards kill me game in and game out. I'm gonna use them to the best of what I think their ability is and what I think they can do. I'll play the hot hand. I'll dole out the minutes based on merit and based on matchups. There's certain guys, certain times Darling can't play in the game. There's certain times he needs certain athleticism in the game. There's certain times he's gonna test this guy. He'll always give Shannon a chance to come in and make some shots because he's streaky. He'll obviously Sellers is gonna get the major minutes of all of them, but he needs to be more aggressive. He cannot play in a game like last week and take 3 shots. He had an early 3 and then he didn't take a shot. He took one other shot the rest of the game. Can't do that. They need him to shoot the ball. I don't think he can take a bad 3. He's the best form, the best looking shooter. He's the best looking shooter on the team. And give Hopkins credit because he's opened his game up and opened his game up. And now when they give him a 3 in a matchup, he's going to shoot it. And he shot it with confidence last week because his 6 and 9 was enormous. Other than that, St. John's shot 20% from 3. That 6 and 9 carried the day. That was a huge factor in them winning. An enormous factor in them winning. No question about it. An enormous factor in them winning. Do I think they're gonna win tomorrow? I think it's gonna be a very close game. I think it's gonna be a game that's not gonna be played high in the numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if the game doesn't hit more than 70. I don't think it's gonna be one of these games where there's a lot of scoring. I think it's gonna be a rugged game with a lot of defense and very physical. I think St. John's has a really good chance to get past them. If they had the point guard, I don't think St. John's would beat them. They have not been the same team since they lost them. They have not, and Boozer has been asked to do so many things that, the other day, he didn't even score in the first half, and then in the second half, he went crazy, but this is a kid who's smart. This is a kid who knows, "Hey, if I have to do it by getting to the line 15 times in the second half, I'll do it." He knows he plays like a seasoned pro. If you haven't seen him, he does everything really patiently and very smart. That's gonna be a fascinating matchup tomorrow. The front line matchup is gonna be fascinating tomorrow. And the way that building has now, with what's going on with the tickets and the doubleheader and everything else, with such a great doubleheader and so much anticipation, it's like a mini Final Four. It really is. It's almost got the buzz. It's almost got the heat of a Final Four. That's saying a lot, because regionals don't usually feel like that, but this one's special, obviously. So if you're heading down, enjoy it. If you're already down there, enjoy it. You waited a long time if you're a St. John's fan. If you're a UConn fan, you're already spoiled. You know what? You're walking around with your national championship sweatshirts on. We understand. You've been great. But this team is not that team. That two-time champion team, that was great. That was one for the ages. But be careful. You got your hands full tomorrow. That's gonna be a heck of a game. Heck of a game. I wouldn't miss that doubleheader for the world. I thought about going down for a variety of reasons that I'm not getting into. Just with logistics and who's traveling in the family and everything else, I couldn't do it. So I'll be watching. I'll be watching. I tell you right now, I did think about going down though. I mean, that's a doubleheader worth seeing. It really is. Enjoy. We'll talk to you tomorrow after the game.